It was supposed to be the most important day of my life. I had been battling my ex-husband Marcus for custody of our daughter Emma for over a year. It had been an ugly, drawn-out war, filled with lies, manipulation, and emotional manipulation. Marcus, always the charming and charismatic one, had the ability to sway people with his words. But this time, he had gone too far. Marcus and I had been married for 10 years before we divorced. In that time, he became the man everyone admired, successful, confident, and seemingly perfect. I was the one who held our family together, the one who sacrificed for our daughter, who worked long hours while taking care of Emma, always putting her needs first. But when we split up, things changed. Marcus turned the tables, painting himself as the loving father and me as the manipulative mother. He twisted our history, accusing me of being controlling and emotionally abusive toward him, trying to turn Emma against him. It hurt me to my core. I was not perfect, but I had always been there for Emma. He had the money, the lawyer, and the connections. I had the truth on my side, but it didn't feel like enough. The court seemed to be leaning in his favor, and every day felt like I was losing Emma just a little bit more. I had spent hours going over the evidence, trying to convince the judge that I was the one who had the best interests of our daughter at heart. But each time I took the stand, Marcus's liar tore me apart. They tried to paint me as a manipulator, a woman who was only after control, and it felt like the world was against me. I had nearly given up hope. Marcus had already planted seeds of doubt in the judge's mind, and I could see the shift in the way the court was viewing me. Every little thing they said seemed to be twisted, and I was starting to feel like I was fighting a losing battle. The weight of it all was unbearable. But then something unexpected happened. It was the final day of the trial, and my lawyer and I were preparing for our last argument. Marcus's lawyer had already made their case, painting me as the villain. I knew this was it. The judge would make her decision soon, and I was terrified of what that decision would be. Emma, who had been staying with Marcus for the past few weeks, was not present in the courtroom that day. I hadn't seen her in days, and I was heartbroken. Then, just as the judge was about to make her ruling, something shocking occurred. The door to the courtroom opened, and Emma stepped inside. She was holding something in her hands, something that she handed to me as she walked toward the witness stand. The courtroom went silent as she took her seat, and I could feel the eyes of everyone in the room on her. Emma, my beautiful, brave 12-year-old daughter, was about to change everything. "Your Honor," Emma said, her voice steady and clear, "I need to tell you something." The judge, visibly taken aback, looked at Emma with curiosity. "What is it, Emma?" Emma took a deep breath and looked at both Marcus and me. Her eyes flickered with a mixture of sadness and resolve as she began to speak. "Everyone keeps saying things about my mom. They keep saying she's controlling and manipulative, but that's not true," Emma said, her voice strong. "She's not like that. I know because I've seen it, I've lived with it, and I know my mom better than anyone." I could hardly believe what I was hearing. My heart was racing. This wasn't what I expected. Marcus's eyes widened in shock, and I could see his face twitching with anger. He hadn't seen this coming. Emma continued, her words flowing out faster now. "I've seen how Dad manipulates everything. He tries to make people believe things that aren't true. He makes me feel guilty for loving my mom. He tells me I shouldn't talk to her about certain things. He's the one who tries to control everything, and I can't let him do that anymore. I won't let him take my mom away from me." The courtroom was silent. I had never heard my daughter speak with such courage, such clarity. The truth was finally coming out. My own flesh and blood was standing up for me when I couldn't stand up for myself. She pulled a letter out of her bag and handed it to the judge. "This is a letter I wrote a few weeks ago." I was too scared to give it to anyone until now. But I want you to read it. The judge looked at the letter, then back at Emma. Thank you, Emma, she said softly, clearly moved by the young girl's bravery. The judge took a moment to read the letter, which Emma had written about her experiences living with both of us, about the emotional manipulation she had witnessed from Marcus, and how she had always felt caught in the middle. It was a raw, honest account of everything I had suspected, but I had never been able to prove. As the judge read the letter, I looked at Marcus. His face was pale, his expression filled with disbelief. He had never expected this. Emma's words were like a dagger to the heart of everything he had been trying to build in the courtroom. The facade he had worked so hard to create was crumbling before his eyes. The judge set the letter down and looked at Emma with admiration. Thank you, Emma, she said, her voice filled with warmth. You've shown great courage in speaking up. It's clear to me that you understand the situation better than anyone else. Marcus's liar tried to object, but the judge silenced him with a stern look. We will take this into consideration, she said firmly. Emma's testimony had changed the course of the trial. For the first time, the truth was out in the open. The lies and manipulation that Marcus had been spreading were no longer holding weight. The judge's expression softened as she looked at me. After what felt like an eternity, the judge finally made her decision. Based on the evidence presented, she began, it is clear to me that Emma's well-being is best served in her mother's care. I am awarding full custody to you, Miss Blackwell. Marcus, you will have visitation rights, but I will be keeping a close eye on your relationship with Emma. The room erupted in murmurs, but I barely heard anything. I couldn't believe it. After everything, I had won. Emma had won. My daughter had stood up for me, exposed the truth, and protected our family. I rushed to Emma's side, tears in my eyes, and hugged her tightly. She had saved me. She had saved us. The days that followed were filled with a sense of relief and healing. I was finally free from the constant battle, and I could focus on rebuilding my relationship with Emma. We started therapy together, working through the trauma that Marcus's manipulation had caused, and we began to rebuild the trust that had been broken. Marcus, for his part, was furious, but he had no power anymore. The truth was out, and no amount of manipulation could change that. As for Emma, she proved to me that she was stronger than I had ever realized. She had seen through the lies, and she had the courage to speak the truth. She had saved me, and I would be forever grateful for her bravery. From that moment on, I promised myself that I would always stand by her, support her, and protect her, just as she had protected me. Together, we could face anything, and no one could take that away from us.